father made socks. That's what his father did, but it has little or no bearing on anything. What you want to do for your paper, you're going to choose the work. You will read and reflect on the work, write about it, just kind of free write and get your own ideas about what you think the person is saying about this, that, and the other, okay? Voltaire. Does Voltaire hate all religion? That might be a topic. Does he hate all Christians? Are there any Christians that came across in Candide that seemed like maybe you didn't hate them? Jacques the Anabaptist, unfortunately, he drowns and never comes back to life, unlike all the rest of the characters who die and come back to life and die and come back to life. But yeah, Jacques the Anabaptist is truly generous and practical and helps people, right? So Jacques the Anabaptist seems like a good character, okay? So we could say that. We could also talk about that sort of thing, what opinions are championed, what themes are addressed, that sort of thing. Now, once you've got your own opinions, okay, once you've kind of got your own opinions, then you need to go to the library, and you can do this physically, or nowadays you can do it by internet. But your sources must, your sources must all come from the UM library. Okay, and now to the people who are online freaking out because you're a long way away, it's okay, I can tell you how to do this. It does work. I will post online, it's like you'll just see a video of the screens that I'm clicking on, and I'll be narrating what you're supposed to do. But you can get sources all online using the databases. You may not use the web. You may not use the internet and Google. Okay, you don't Google things. Here are some things that are not good sources. Do not use CliffsNotes. Do not use Sparks Notes. Do not use book rags. Do not use encyclopedias. No Wikipedia. Do not use dictionaries as sources in your paper. Those things are to help you manage your reading. For instance, if you don't know the definition of a word, fine. You can go look it up, but you're not going to, that just means now you know what the word meant. Or if you were going to use, I don't know, Sparks Notes or something like that, or even an encyclopedia about that time, like if you're looking for that era, like neoclassicism, that's fine, but that's not something that will wind up in your paper. It just helps you know whether or not you're going in the right direction. So I'm not saying never look at them, I'm just saying that's not scholarly enough to be incorporated. Instead, what you want are books about the work, books about the author, although really what you want are books about the poem, books about Candide, books about Gulliver's Travels, books about Wordsworth's Ode on Intimations of Immortality, something like that, about the work, so that you can read through those essays, chapters, or book if you want to, you read through it and say, oh, that's not what I thought it meant at all, and then you go, well, he's just wrong. And that makes for a great paper when you say, this guy's just wrong. You don't have to have a source that agrees with you. You don't have to have a source that is exactly on your topic, okay? You could have a source that you totally disagree with. And that makes a nice foil, because you say, he says this, but it's clear by this character's actions that that's not true. Or Bob Smith thinks this other thing over here. And you can say, well, part of it's right, but then he goes too far with his interpretation. So you can do something like that. Okay, now for the annotated bibliography. This is a sample of the annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography is due on the 23rd of this month, September 23rd. These need to be turned in via file exchange, which is going to be interesting because I've never done that before, but we're going to make it work. You need to turn these in via file exchange. If there are technological problems, you know, I'll understand if we have to figure out the computer stuff together. That's okay. An annotated bibliography. Okay, that's the next step. Sources must all come from the UM library, and you collect at least 5 sources. Okay. About your topic. 5 good sources. Well, hopefully good. And then you will write an MLA format citation. If you look at your sample there, it's got, I mean, there's that whole paragraph at the top that says, you know, the directions kind of. But the first one is Fetter, comma, Lillian. Lillian Fetter is the author, so you do last name, comma, first name, period. It's an article. Alan Tate's use of classical literature in quotation marks, standard MLA format, Centennial Review, that's the journal it came out of. And then 4, Winter 1960. What you need to do is look at your handbook that you have been using, hopefully forever, to know how to do that citation. Then you write maybe 3 or 4 sentences, nicely structured sentences about the article or book, okay? 3 or 4 nicely structured sentences. The easiest way to explain this is summarize the book, summarize the article, okay? Just summarize it. Say what the author is trying to say, okay? Just say, the author of this article argues that Candide was a girl. You know, make up something that's wrong. You know, just come back of it. And just, you know, whatever. And then here's the way that they try to prove it. You might say that you develop that, you just tell what this thesis is, and you kind of go from there. You explain how. So it's a summary of the article. Now, here are a couple of things. Number 1, if you get a collection of essays, let's say you get a book from the library that has several essays in it about the same work, all about Ode on Intimations of Immortality, by different authors. There are 5 essays in there about the poem by different authors. Each essay can count as a separate source, okay? You might find a whole book on Wordsworth and his poetry, and there's only 1 chapter in there that you want to use on Ode on Intimations of Immortality. You can just cite that 1 chapter. You don't have to read the whole book. If you find a book on somebody's poetry or on Billy Budd or whatever, if you find a whole book and you want to use the whole book and it's, you know, the whole book is all by 1 author, you can do that and you put it in here. You summarize what the author's point is, just 3 or 4 sentences. You do not have to read the whole book in the next 11 days, okay? You skim through it and find some of the main points that you think you'll use, and you just summarize those points, okay? So you're not having to go read everything in the library. So number 1, choose a work to write about. Number 2, read the work. That really helps so that you know whether you're reading good sources or not. Number 3, well, after you read it, you also want to reflect on it a little bit, come up with your own ideas so that you've got your own independent thesis that you're working on. And then you have to go get 5 sources from the library, write 5 entries with some summaries for your annotated bibliography. And so that, okay, what was your question?
She answered it.
Oh, was it something they like asked you?
I was just, you already, I think you already said it. So
Oh, okay.
I missed it.
Okay.
We're just refreshing.
Okay, so you will all write these up according to MLA format, use good grammar, find good sources, and submit them via file exchange on the 23rd. A couple of things not to do. Number 1, this is a quick way to flunk the whole assignment like with a 0, okay? This is how to get a 0. And I would recommend just do kind of lousy work rather than then, you know, just write some silly summary or something. Let's see, wait, where do I want to go here? Let's see, I'll go over here to, let's just try this. Where's the library? I'll show you, I can go ahead and do this. Connect to the library. Okay, this is how you can get to sources online, okay? This is a quick thing, and I'll also have it, okay, anyhow. Electronic databases, click on that. You're gonna go over here, click on subject. If you had me when you were a freshman, you're sick of seeing this. All right, literature. We're gonna go down here, scroll down to MLA International Bibliography. And we're going to click on, look at this, find all my search terms, right there, you turn that on. We're going to try to find only full text articles, and I want scholarly or peer-reviewed journals, not Wikipedia, although Wikipedia wouldn't be on here anyhow. Let's try Wordsworth.